We are finally continuing the saga of trying to complete every book series that I am currently in the middle of, and as you guys can probably tell, there's a lot. I am in the middle of a lot of book series right now, and these are some of the books that are the next installments in those series. So I thought for today's video, we would spend it tackling these books. I have so many good ones in this pile, guys, and a ton of them are honestly so perfect for fall time and cozy season. We have Wildcard by Elsie Silver. This is book 4 in the Rose Hill series, and this has honestly been a very weird series for me. I've kind of been in between of liking it and not liking it. I have to say, I feel like the first 2 books probably had potential for me to really like them. I think I ended up really liking book 2. Book 3 was like a total flop, which was really disappointing for me because I thought I'd really like it because our MMC in that was actually a professional wrestler, and I just thought the storyline had a lot of potential. I thought it could have been really fun because he was a wrestler, but it ended up being a total flop, and honestly, I kind of contemplated like continuing on this series, but I ended up getting this arc, and I feel like this could honestly save it for me just because the MMC in this book is Bash, and I've kind of been curious about him since book 1. He gives off very mysterious bad boy vibes, and I just feel like it'd be a lot of fun to read his story, and hopefully, who knows, maybe I'll end up really liking this one. Then we have Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is book 3 in her Lakefront Billionaire series, and honestly, it's another series that I'm kind of in the middle of. I don't know if I like it or don't like it, but once again, this book actually has a love story that I have been very excited to read about, and it's all about Lorenzo and Lily. Again, more characters that we've kind of just gotten breadcrumbs of throughout the first 2 books, and I just feel like I'm going to love Lorenzo's story the most just because he definitely seems like the troubled, misunderstood MMC in the whole story. So I just feel like this could be a lot of fun. It seems like a lot of people don't like him, but I think we're gonna find out that he's actually like the best guy ever, and I'm pretty sure this is also like a fake dating, fake relationship trope, which could be a lot of fun. Fearful by Lauren Roberts. This is just an itty bitty novella. It's part of her Powerless series, one of my favorite romantasy series. This is the novella that is next for me. I don't know if there's anything else coming out with that series or if this is the very last book in it. I thought I'd add it to the pile just because I am really excited to kind of jump back into this world and maybe just see some of my favorite characters one more time. The Dueling Crowns edition, which is a part of the Lightlark series, another one of my favorite series right now. This is really cool because it's basically 2 novellas in one, and we get one from Oro's point of view and then the other is from Grimm's point of view. Look how gorgeous this edition is. Okay, I've literally been staring at this book since I picked it up, but this is 2 novellas in one, and I am so excited to read the story from the boys' point of view. I just feel like it's going to be so good. Like, literally obsessed with both of them. We have Holly by Adeline Grace. This is a fun holiday novella that is a part of the Belladonna series, another one of my favorite series. These books, for the most part, are all a part of some of my favorite series, so that's kind of why I wanted to include them in this video. But this is a cutie little holiday novella, and I know it's not technically holiday time. We're like literally in the thick of fall right now, and Halloween is right around the corner, but I really love these characters and I just miss them so much. So this is actually very high on my October TBR, my fall TBR. And then last but not least, we have Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, and we are actually starting out with this book today because I started it in a previous video of mine, and I quickly decided in that video that I wanted to film this video and I wanted this book to be included in it just because another one of my favorite series that I feel like I actually tackle in these type of videos where I'm trying to complete book series I'm in the middle of. So I just thought it was very fitting to include this one. So much has literally happened in this book so far though, and I'm going to catch you guys up on all the crazy craziness. But before we hop into the reading vlog, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring today's video. Last night when I was reading Accomplice to the Villain, we actually made a Green Chef meal, and it is probably one of my favorite meals to date. It was basically this delicious chickpea pepper flatbread, and at first I was really skeptical about it, and then it ended up being so good. Like, I'm literally gonna make it again soon because I am like craving it already. I've literally discovered so many fun recipes because of Green Chef, and I am just such a big fan of meal kits in general, so I wanted to share them with you guys in today's video. If you've been around on my channel for a while, you've probably also heard me complain about grocery shopping, but thanks to Green Chef, we've been able to save so much time on grocery shopping and meal planning, and instead use the time to spend together as a family. Green Chef is the #1 meal delivery service for clean eating. You can choose from 80+ weekly menu options to customize based on your needs across over 8 dietary preferences, including plant-based, gluten-free, Mediterranean, and more. They make cooking approachable and enjoyable with farmers market quality, organic produce, globally inspired flavors, and pre-prepped ingredients that eliminate that stress and extra time it takes to grocery shop and meal plan. Green Chef makes it so easy to stay on track with healthy eating as well, and the recipes again are just so yummy. I've saved so many of them. Chris and I have been doing their meal kits for years and absolutely swear by them, and especially with all the big life changes lately, they have made such a big difference in our lives and helping make it easier. You can head over to greenchef.com or use the link in my description box, as well as use my code 50alexaraye to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Green Chef box plus 20% off for 2 months. That's code 50alexaraye at greenchef.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Green Chef box plus 20% off for 2 months. But thank you so much to Green Chef for sponsoring today's video, and without further ado, let's hop into the reading vlog. So to start off the vlog, we are gonna hop back into Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I started this book in a previous reading vlog, and then I realized I wanted to put it in this reading vlog because I totally forgot that I actually have been tackling this entire series in these videos specifically, so I thought it'd be really fitting to kind of keep it going. And I only read 100 pages, but within the 100 pages, like, so much has happened. It's actually crazy. If you're not familiar with this incredible series, this is book 3 in the Assistant to the Villain series. It is a fun, comedic, romantic-y series, and I have been eating it up since page 1 of book 1. I want to say the series came out 2-3 years ago, and I actually had read book 1 right when it came out and was like totally wowed by it. Then, of course, by the end of book 1, I was really upset because I had realized that I now had to wait a whole year to jump into book 2, and then after book 2 I had to wait another year to jump into book 3, and these books leave off on some crazy cliffhangers. I'm sure you guys can imagine how upset I was. Nonetheless, this is a very fun, exciting series. It's probably a series I recommend pretty often to people just because I do think it is very different from other romantasy and fantasy books, especially if we're talking like book talky type of books. I feel like it's not a series that is often recommended, at least as like someone's first recommendation, so I love talking about it. I love recommending it to people, and it truly is just such a fun, adventurous series. Book 1, though, is exactly as the title says. It is about an assistant to the villain, and our assistant is our FMC, Evie. Basically, this whole series takes place in this magical kingdom, and in book 1, there's like this sickness going around. I'm pretty sure how it starts out too is Evie's father is fairly ill, so she kind of has to take on the responsibility of running the household, taking care of her little sister. So she is looking for work, and she's having a pretty hard time, which you find out in the beginning of that book why she's having a hard time finding work. And ultimately, she literally falls into the hands of our villain, our MMC. He ends up offering her a position to be his assistant, and Evie quickly jumps on the opportunity. She quite literally needs anything to work for her right now, so she ends up accepting and becoming the assistant to the villain. He does horrible things, so naturally everyone is is very afraid of him, except Evie Sage, and that is something that actually stands out to him very quickly, and I think why he offers this job to her, because he's kind of like, why isn't this cute little girl afraid of me? Like, everyone fears me except her. There is this darkness casting over the kingdom. You know, we have the sickness going around, but there's a whole bunch of other really crazy weird things going on. There's a lot of action, there's a lot of comedy in this series, which is probably one of my favorite parts. Our FMC Evie will have a lot of dialogue with herself, and it is just so funny the things that she is saying. Low-key, Evie Sage is very unhinged, and I honestly love that about her. She's easily one of the funniest, most vibrant FMCs I've ever read about, and I just love everything about her. She's so funny, and she's not afraid of the villain or afraid to poke at him. The whole vibe that Evie really sets around the villain and around the work environment is so fun. And when Evie Sage enters this new workspace, everyone is kind of, you know, tiptoeing around the villain, but Evie comes in and she really just changes everything up. You know, she's bringing in this fun, bubbly personality into this typically dark work environment, and she starts to bring out these really different sides to everybody, and she even starts to bring out a different side in our villain. Book 1 in itself is so good in my opinion. It is quite the story, unlike anything I've truly ever read before. And then going into book 2, the story just gets crazier from there. And then of course we also have a really good romance. It's a slow burn, and when I say slow burn, I mean slow burn as in we are still continuing the slow burn into book 3, which is absolutely crazy. There's a lot of yearning and tension that I know so many of us love and crave when it comes to romantasy. I would say we have a lot of black cat, golden retriever energy as well. We are on to book 3. I'm not going to ramble too much about the series just because if you haven't read it, I cannot recommend it enough. It is truly such a fun adventure, really unlike any of the other fantasy books that I've read out there. Accomplice to the villain though, I'm sure you guys can already tell, but Miss Evie has gotten a promotion, and in this book, in the first 100 pages, so much has happened, but it's mainly because the way that book 2 leaves off. I was very much expecting book 3 to kind of jump right into the action and adventure. We are getting a new POV in this story as well, which I feel like is so fun and different. You wouldn't really expect this character to have their separate POV in it, but we're getting it in this one, and it's quite hilarious. I think it's also adding a lot to the story. We're picking right back up though from the ending of book 2. There was quite the crazy plot twist at the end of book 2. The first 100 pages of this book has kind of been the aftermath of that. Romance wise, I am not disappointed. This first 100 pages has been pretty interesting romance wise, so I'm excited to kind of see how the rest of the book plays out. We are kind of entering forbidden love territory. I think it is so fun because Hannah Nicole Mayer really took everyone's favorite tropes and threw it in to her series. Found family is also a really big trope in this series, and I feel like in book 2 we explored a lot of it, and I think it's going to continue into book 3. We're getting multiple POVs in this story, which is really fun, and along with that we're obviously jumping around the story and time, so I feel like it's really tying the entire story together really well. Lots of crazy stuff has already happened though. I think we are actually kind of running into our first little conflict here, and I'm kind of nervous. I feel like Hannah Nicole Mayer does a really good job at keeping us on our toes with her stories. This I did not see coming, and I can't imagine like how it's gonna play out. We are on chapter 24, page 102. We're gonna keep going though. I'm really excited to see how this all plays out, and you know, if everyone keeps their roles in this story, because I feel like the roles of our characters are probably going to change up in this one. just made it to page 198, chapter 49, and holy moly, what actually is happening right now? I feel like the way the books set up like potential plot twist is kind of crazy. This definitely happened in book 2 and in book 1, but you're almost playing like detective in this series. You're kind of always trying to figure out like who did what, who's on the good side, who's on the bad side, who's gonna be like the big betrayer. I feel like the person that you would think is betraying the villain and betraying Evie and everyone involved, the person you think is doing that isn't really the person. I kind of have an idea. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to jinx it, but I kind of have an idea on who might be the one. I'm really curious to see if I'm right or not. It's gonna be pretty crazy if I am, because this person that I'm kind of sus about is like not a bad person at all in the series, and I really like them, but I just have this like hunch. Right now, Villain and Evie are, finding themselves in a little debacle. Typical. They're kind of always getting themselves in trouble, and they're always together when they're getting in trouble. I do really like the tension, the yearning, the forbidden love that we're getting out of this right now, because I'm also trying to figure out what is kind of keeping our two main characters apart. I'm really interested to see if that's going to be uncovered in this book. Until very recently, I thought this was the last book in its series, but a lot of people actually told me that this isn't the last book and that there is indeed going to be a book 4. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we kind of get some things answered for us in this book, because I just know, guys, Hannah is going to leave us on a cliffhanger. Chapter 49, the last 100 pages have been just as crazy as the first 100. I really love that this book is very like adventurous and action-packed. I feel like there's something crazy and new happening every single chapter, and I really like that. I don't feel like there's a lot of filler content in this, which I find with most fantasy books that there tends to be a lot of filler content. But with this series, I feel like every chapter really has a purpose and really contributes well to the storyline. So I'm very into it. I'm very sucked in. I also feel like I'm flying through it, which usually is a good sign. It means I'm enjoying it. We are gonna keep going though. I'm really nervous to see what happens in this next chapter, because honestly, I feel like Evie is low-key using up all of her lives. Sometimes I compare her to a cat in 9 lives, and she is definitely running out of those. So we will see what happens with our Evie Sage. We're also getting a ton of different POVs in this book. I really like that. Sometimes I'm kind of skeptical about getting multiple characters POV, but I'm actually really enjoying it so far. And like I said, every chapter I feel like it contributes really nicely to the overall story. Every character in this story that we're getting the POV from, they all have their own separate side stories. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm excited to see how all of their stories kind of tie together, but at the same time it is kind of like nerve-wracking, because as the reader I'm reading these other POVs and I'm finding out really crazy things that are happening, but then our main characters have no idea that these things are happening. They have no idea what's going on or what our other characters are going through. I know what's happening and I know what's to come for them, but they have no idea. I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't know if I like knowing if something bad is gonna happen. We're more than halfway through, so that's crazy, because I can tell you right now we're definitely gonna have a cliffhanger, because there's no way Hannah Nicole Mayer is gonna answer all my questions in these last 150 pages. am unwell. We officially finished Accomplice to the Villain. Speechless. I'm absolutely speechless right now. I'm definitely going to need some time to process everything I just read, because the last 50 to 100 pages of Accomplice to the Villain has me shooketh. I do have to say I'm very proud of myself because I made a guess early on in the book. I believe I mentioned it to you guys, but I had an idea of who, the betrayer was going to be in this, the one who, was kind of going against the villain and everyone. I was actually right about the person who was betraying him. Honestly, I don't think it's an obvious person per se, but at the same time, the people who are kind of thrown to the front to be suspected to betray the villain, it just seemed too easy in my opinion. Naturally, I went to the person that you would least expect, but also someone that you don't see too much of in the story. That was kind of my thought process for picking this specific person, and I was right. With that being said though, I don't think they are as bad or as evil as we would assume them to be. I think there was more to the story, and I'm hoping we find out more in book 4, but the way that this book wrapped up is absolutely crazy. I can't believe the different type of cliffhangers that we were just left on. I feel like there's so many cliffhangers to so many separate stories in this book that we now have to wait for, and I don't even know when book 4 is coming out. I'm assuming maybe next year. If not next year, maybe the year after, which is far too long for me to wait for this answer. I have so many questions. I need so many answers. I'm going to need some time to process. I pulled all the books out because I wanted to go back and revisit some of my favorite quotes, because some of my all-time favorite quotes are from this series. If you follow me over on Instagram or my Bookstagram, you have definitely seen lots and lots of quotes from this series, because I think the writing style is just so fun and poetic and beautiful, and also just funny at times. So I've taken a lot of really, really good quotes from this series. Naturally, Accomplice to the Villain is a 5-star read for me. I loved it. It was amazing. Honestly, it might be my favorite out of the series so far, if not very, very close second, because I just really loved the storyline in this. After book 2, I just didn't really know what was to come. I didn't know what could possibly happen next for the villain and Evie and everybody. And then jumping into book 3, I just feel like we were thrown crazy scenario after crazy scenario, and I really, really enjoyed it. Also, just the comedy aspect of this series as a whole, I don't know how someone could not enjoy it and laugh at it. 5 stars, was very close to being a 4-star because of how it ended, because I got so mad. The way that this book ends, criminal, guys. Absolutely criminal how Hannah Nicole Mayer leaves us hanging. I can't believe, literally even just the last 10-15 pages, my jaw was on the ground. I can't even imagine what's going to happen. What is book 4 going to have in store for us? I love this series so very much. I think it is such a fun and different type of fantasy adventure series. I think adding the comedic aspect to it is what really, really gets me. There's just so many lines from the series that literally have me cackling. Looking back at quotes though from book 1 and book 2 had me so happy. I think the character development of our characters in the series has been so beautiful. The way that Evie has changed throughout each book is absolutely crazy. Thinking back to book 1 and where she started, I can't believe how much our girl has grown. She really has turned into such a badass FMC, and I thought she was in book 1, but I couldn't imagine how far she would go, and now what she's become in book 3, I am totally wowed by her. And then I also think the character development with our villain is also pretty incredible. His barriers start to come down, he becomes a little bit more trusting, and it's just really cool to see these characters change throughout the books. That even goes for our side characters. I feel like I haven't read a series in a long time where I am really invested in the side characters and their stories. We have like 3 or 4 other storylines going on within the main story, and I am so invested in all of them. I can't wait to jump back into them, especially because with the side characters, we don't get as much from them as we do from our main characters. So I'm really excited to kind of get those tied up in book 4 and just kind of see how things work out. In book 3 specifically, we're definitely introduced to some other romances and some other couples, and I am living for them. I'm so excited for book 4. I have to look this up right now. We have to see if there's any talks for book 4 coming out, because I need to know. August 4th, 2026. The title is Adversary to the Villain. I literally just want to scream right now. I am so excited. This has truly been such a fun series, and I can't wait to wrap it up next year with you guys. It's gonna be quite the adventure, I'm sure. I would not be upset if book 4 was like massive. I'm talking like a 600-page book. I know it's not gonna be a 600-page book, but if it was, I would eat up every single page. I'm not even kidding. These characters are so beautifully written, and you really fall in love with all of them. They feel so real in a way. 5 stars, absolutely amazing. If you haven't read this series yet, you guys gotta try it out because it is so fun. It's perfect time to pick it up too. I feel like fall and winter, perfect seasons to jump into this series. I have all these theories running through my mind now on what's gonna happen. I really can't believe the cliffhanger we were just left on. Not to mention the epilogue. Like, we were just left on so many different cliffhangers. I'm gonna go take some time to process. So I thought we'd keep the fun, cozy, romantic-y vibes kind of rolling, and for the next book, we are going to try out Holly by Adeline Grace. I actually had no idea this was even gonna be a book. It was even a thing. And then randomly, I was at the bookstore about a month ago and I saw this on display. I had no idea that we were getting a holiday novella for the Belladonna series. That is another one of my favorite series. I could talk about that series for a very long time. It's another series that I do feel like it's not as hyped up as other romantasy series. A lot of people just don't really talk about it, so it's another series that I definitely like to recommend to people. I talk about a lot on my channel. I picked up Belladonna, which is book 1, about a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago, and I ended up loving that book. Like, it was crazy. I'm pretty sure I picked it up in like a 5-star reading vlog. If you're not familiar with Belladonna, it's basically like a gothic romantasy type of book. I will say I don't think it is very gothic. It just has a little bit of that dark, cozy vibe to it, and it was absolutely incredible. It is such a fun series in my opinion, and I really like that it's a good mix of mystery and romance, and there's also like fantasy aspects to it. There's like a touch of magic in there. Book 1 though is all about Signa, who was our FMC. She basically has always been different since she was a little girl, and she can talk and see ghosts. Her whole backstory is also really sad, which I think is also where we kind of pull the dark gothic vibes from. Basically, Signa is residing with her cousins in the book, I believe, her uncle, and she quickly finds that there are ghosts in their home, and there's also like this weird mystery going on where someone is poisoning her cousin Blythe. So Signa is trying to figure out who's poisoning her and why, you know, they're trying to kill Blythe. In the Belladonna series, something that I think is really interesting is that death, life, fate, they're all real people and characters in it. In Belladonna, Death is a person, a character that Signa actually interacts with, and book 1 is so good because there's also an enemies to lovers trope in there, and it is quite amazing. If I do say so myself, it is probably one of my favorite romances that I've ever read. Book 2 is kind of continuing on the storyline of that, and there's a whole new mystery aspect as well as new characters introduced, which honestly is really when the series starts to pick up and get really fun. And then book 3 is probably my favorite out of the series, and it revolves around 2 different characters that are not Signa or Death. Oh my gosh, it's literally like one of my favorite romances, guys. I'm not even kidding. Wisteria is probably my favorite book out of the whole series, and now we have a holiday novella called Holly, and I'm just so excited for this because I really wasn't expecting it. It is considered a novella even though it looks like a full book in the series. Also, this edition from Barnes & Noble is so beautiful. We have some gorgeous artwork throughout this whole book. This is what the pages look like though. You can probably tell the font is very big and like spread out, so I don't think this is going to take me too long to read. But we have some really cute artwork throughout the story that I'm really excited to see, and this whole story I actually know nothing about. I have no idea what's going to happen in this. I just know it takes place during the holiday time, and I'm pretty sure Blythe is basically throwing a big holiday celebration. There's something more to it, I think. There's going to be a mystery component, I'm sure. Really excited to jump into it. Even though we are literally in fall time, you know, Halloween is right around the corner. I really want to read this and just kind of revisit my favorite characters again because I haven't read about them in so long. So we're gonna get a little holly jolly in this video. I know it's fall time, but we're gonna pretend that it's Christmas time and holiday time. I mean, it's basically right around the corner, so what's the difference? This is shockingly turning out to probably be the best novella I have ever read. I only say that because novellas are typically not 5 stars, if you know what I mean. Like, usually there's not a lot to them. They're just mini stories to kind of, you know, add to other stories. So I rarely rate a novella 5 stars, but so far this is feeling very 5-starry, not gonna lie. I'm loving this story, guys. It is really giving off all the holiday vibes. Truthfully, it makes me want to pull out my holiday totes and start decorating for Christmas. I won't, but I'm tempted. The vibes are just so good. They're so cozy. I really forgot how descriptive Adeline Grace is with her stories. She's really good at immersing readers into her stories. I feel like she's very descriptive of her settings and the environments, and you just really feel all the Christmas vibes in this one. Blythe is hosting the holidays this year, and she is going all out to decorate Wisteria and make it the coziest, prettiest, most magical Christmas. Those vibes alone are just so good, and I now understand the whole point of the title, Holly. But what's really getting me about this novella is that we're not just getting this cute, fluffy little holiday story. There's actually like a conflict in it, and there's a little mystery that we are trying to solve, which I'm so happy that Adeline Grace incorporated a mystery into the novella. I didn't know if she would because it's just a novella, but there is actually a whole fresh story and mystery in this, and I'm really enjoying it. Basically, Blythe is a no-go when it comes to ghosts. Absolutely wants nothing to do with them. She doesn't want them in their home or anywhere around her. So it's very important that Blythe gets to host host the holidays without any interference and especially without any ghosts? Well, there just so happens to be a few ghosties popping up around Wisteria that Cigna notices, and she immediately is trying to get rid of them and make sure that Blythe doesn't find out. Along with Eris and Silas, their whole goal is to get rid of the ghost without Blythe finding out that there were ever any ghosts. So that's been the main part of the story so far. And then the other part that I'm really loving is the holiday part. They are all trying to find the perfect gifts for one another, and Silas is basically on this adventure to find gifts for everybody, and it is honestly so wholesome and cute. We're also getting to revisit all of our favorite characters, all our favorite couples. I feel like we're getting a really good mix of romance in here, but we're also getting a good mix of the found family aspect and the friendships that were made along the way. I have to say, I really like that we're kind of pairing off Cigna with Eris and then Silas with Blythe. I feel like it's a fun dynamic to kind of explore in this because usually we get it the other way around. The whole ghost story side of it is really interesting. I'm kind of getting like ballet, nutcracker vibes from them, which I feel like pairs so lovely with the overall holiday vibes. I'm really excited though to see how she does navigate this problem and, you know, how she's gonna get rid of them. For a novella, I am pretty impressed so far. Usually there's not much to them, but this is like a whole story. Like, it's actually really cool. We're in chapter 14, page 223. Another thing I'm really loving about this is that we're getting the point of view from all four characters, which I think is really fun because all four characters are kind of going through their own separate little problems. And then this edition as a whole is just so beautiful. I am living for the artwork in this book. I think it is so pretty. I am literally obsessed with this. I do have Fairy Loot special editions of this series, so if you're familiar with those special editions, you know there's really beautiful artwork in them, and I just live for artwork around Belladonna. We are going to finish Holly up. I can't wait to see how Cigna figures out this whole ghost problem. It is quite comical watching her right now. We finished Holly by Adeline Grace. I think I might pull my Christmas stuff out tomorrow. I'm not even kidding. It was such a good novella. Honestly, probably the best novella I have ever read because it didn't even feel like a novella. It felt like a full story and it was so cute and sweet, and even though it was short, I just thought it was perfect. I'm gonna go with 5 stars because truthfully, this was such a cute novella and I feel like the overall story of it was just so good. I feel like the found family trope in this really comes alive and you just feel so happy and warm inside. I feel like it's giving off all the cozy vibes. The mystery aspect was even fun and cozy because it revolved around ghosty ballerinas and it was so cute. It was very wholesome. Also, could we talk about the ending of it? Is Adeline Grace hinting at another book, a part of the Belladonna series? I feel like the way she ended this novella left open a whole doorway into possibly creating a 4th Belladonna book. So I'm really curious to see what happens next. I just feel like the ending of this was too like cliffhangy, you know what I mean? I will be so happy if she comes out with another book, but this was so cute. It was so wholesome. Just because I was talking about Fairy Loot editions of this series, this is my Fairy Loot Wisteria edition, and what I love about these books is the artwork that we get inside. I think it is so beautiful. Like, the character artwork is probably one of my favorites. Come on, that is so beautiful. I am obsessed. I also have the Fairy Loot Foxglove edition with our beautiful character artwork of Cigna. This is exactly how I envisioned her, honestly. Oh my goodness, like, come on. It's such a good series. If you have not tried it, I could not recommend it enough. Originally, I was gonna jump into a 3rd book, and then when I was going through like all of the books and series that I'm currently in the middle of, I just got like overwhelmed and I decided to literally pull off every book series I'm currently in the middle of. So I decided to do, and what I thought would be really fun to do, is to share all the books with you guys right now. And then I'd really love it if you guys voted down below what book series you'd like to see me tackle in our next part of this video. We have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is a part of the Throne of Glass series. I am so afraid to pick up this series. Honestly, I need you guys to push me to read it. Fearful by Lauren Roberts, a part of the Powerless series. A Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reed. This is the sequel to A Study in Drowning. Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is a crazy one because I loved Divine Rivals, and I actually started this book and I put it down because I just wasn't really liking it in the beginning. Thrive by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This series I've literally been reading for like 2 or 3 years. A Long Way Home, Magnolia Parks. Honestly, this is huge. I don't want to read this. We have Hexed by Emily McIntyre. This is a part of the Never After novels, and it is basically a Little Mermaid reimagining, I believe. Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This is another book I literally read like 3/4 of, and then I put it down and never finished it. And now if I go to read it again, I have to read it from the beginning because I don't remember anything that happened in it. Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. I'm actually really excited for this book. The Score by Elle Kennedy. Another hockey romance is Unloved by Peyton Corin. We read Unsteady, I think earlier this year. Wildcard by Elsie Silver. This is the final book in her Rose Hill series, and honestly, I can see myself really liking it. The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Lori Gilmore. I am very excited to read this book. Regardless, I'm going to put it on my November TBR. Last but not least, we have the Lightlark Dueling Crowns edition. We have Grimm and Oro's story here. I am so excited for this book. This is another book I was actually tempted to pick up in this video, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask you guys. Leave your votes down below in the comment section. What book series do you want to see me tackle in our next installment of this series? And we'll see what happens. I'm really excited. I have quite the collection of book series that I'm currently in the middle of, so you guys have a lot to choose from. With all that being said though, that brings us to the end of today's reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. If you've read either of the books we read in today's video, let me know down below what you guys rated it and if you liked it or didn't like it. I'm in shock right now that both of them were 5 stars for me, but at the same time they're 2 of my favorite series, so I guess I can't be too surprised. I feel like they were really good books to tackle though in this video, and just because of the season we're in, I feel like they're perfect for cozy season. Obviously going into holiday time, Holly was a perfect way to kind of end it out. But leave your votes down below and I will see you guys in the next one.